Welcome, everybody, and thank you so very much for tuning in into the Africa We Deserve, Taking Our Power Back video cast. Live today, we have with us Mr. Kelvin Giraji. He is a entrepreneur extraordinaire, a businessman, CEO, hailing from Nigeria. He's coming on to talk to us today about the green economy, digitalization, and his upcoming, very fast approaching, and you guys should not miss it, opportunity in Brazil, Sao Paulo, Brazil, where he will be convening international leaders, business stakeholders, and others to talk about sustainable development, sustainable economy, focusing on Africa. So, Jiraji, I often ask my guests and panelists, we often hear about Africa, and we often hear about the horrible things and that's happening and the need that is so desperate in Africa. But I want you to focus in on this first question. Africa, what is good about Africa? Tell me about the beauty and blessings, bountifulness, and the opportunities that exist in Africa, particularly in Nigeria. Jiraji, we cannot hear you. We're having a little sound difficulty.
Africa is the richest continent in the world, rich with human capacity. I like to begin with human capacity because we are blessed with some of the smartest people in the world. Africa is rich in minerals, natural resource. Africa has the most beautiful continent in the world. Africa is blessed with amazing weather condition, and then of course the pride of Africa is our people. Rural Africa, where people harvest organic food, have access to organic food, eat organically, particularly in rural Africa. Of course, I know over time the media has focused on the negative narratives, but of course, platforms like this should give folks like myself to highlight the beauty of Africa, and then, of course, putting the opportunities therein. Africa is the future of the world. Thank you.
It is the future of the world. And let's hear more about how Nigeria is playing a role, a leading role in Brazil around talking about sustainable development, having a sustainable economy through digital inputs.
Okay, yeah, thank you. That's a very important question today. But I would like to start with the why. Why the need to put up a platform to advance both sustainable growth, sustainable development, and green economy. Over the years, over so many decades, Africa have been playing catch up with development, playing catch up with technology, playing catch up with human advancement. And then I feel it is necessary. This is African time. It's time for Africa to really tell about African stories, create a platform where Africa can connect with the rest of the world, play a leading role, especially in digital revolution and in the green economy. So the why for the Sao Paulo Brazil, or the African digital economy, is to create a platform whereby African leaders can connect with the global world, playing a leading role in technology revolution. So that's the why, And of course, the African Digital Economic Summit, AfriDes, as we like to coin it, is a transformative platform to drive collaboration, to drive development, to drive innovation, to drive growth, and to create a platform whereby Africa can connect with the diaspora, Africa can connect with South America, and of course, Africa can connect with friends of Africa, to advance or play a leading role in driving the global digital economy. So the African Digital Economic Summit, in its real sense, it aims at accelerating or advancing Africa's digital economy, both looking at driving investment, digital infrastructure investment, looking at driving smart investment, looking at having a seat on the global conversations around digital transformation.
Sure.
Thank you.
So let's dive into that a little bit more for the aunties. So I'm approaching the age of being an auntie. Let's look at that for grandmothers. Digital economy. We hear about cryptocurrency. We hear about digital wallets. We hear about things that that are in the web, that are out there someplace. And Africa was the lead in mobile wallets, mobile phone finance. You can finance through the mobile phone. But let's bring it down to the local community, shall we? How is this digital economy going to benefit those in the rural areas, those who may not be so technologically advanced? How is the benefit and how do they use that? And how is your organization, AfriDes, taking a lead in Nigeria to make this applicable? Oh, you're muted again. We cannot hear you, my brother. No. One of the things that definitely needs to happen as we think about sustainable development is technology throughout the global sphere, both in the United States and in Africa, South America. There's opportunities at the table to make sure that we have the first class or 21st century devices and mechanisms ready in order to make such an advancement happen for all people across the globe. As we're waiting for Jiraji to come back on board, I'll just take this opportunity to talk about the summit that he is having in Sao Paulo, Brazil, which will be in October in Sao Paulo, Brazil. We're looking forward. There's an opportunity for individuals. There's an opportunity for individuals to join the conference. We will be sharing and posting the website. Mr. Jiraji is coming back on board now with audio. Let's hear from you about the dates of the conference, Jiraji. So Sao Paulo, Brazil, South America as a whole, in its partnership with AfriDes and Nigeria, Brazil has a long-standing engagement with Africa, both geopolitically, socially, and
yeah. Can you hear me?
Absolutely, we can hear you now. Welcome back.
Oh, beautiful. Oh, thank God.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
awesome.
I was just holding space for you, my brother. I was having a conversation about the conference and the relationship that Brazil, South America, has with Nigeria. So let's pick up on that piece, and then we can go back to the previous question. When is the conference happening?
Okay, yeah, thank you. The conference comes up on the 27th to 31st of October 2024 in Sao Paulo, Brazil, at the International Intercontinental Hotel, Sao Paulo.
Oh, fabulous. What a nice hotel. I love the Intercontinental. So high class, high ranking. People should definitely be beating their feet to your website, which we will be posting for people to grab tickets and participate in this event. Do say more about the connection between Brazil and Nigeria. And then let's dive a little bit more into the connection between South America and Africa as a whole.
Yeah, thank you. I think beyond America, Brazil happens to have the highest Black population in the world beyond America. Particularly the Yoruba tribe have a lot of origin from Brazil. So with that, Brazil is pretty much home for most of us that will be participating at this conference, you know. And then, of course, Brazil has over the years been known about soccer, but digital transformation is playing a very critical role globally. And Brazil seems to be doing so well along that line. And then it's an opportunity for Africa to connect, to collaborate, to copy what works, to, of course, localize as much as possible what is obtainable. And that's the beauty about the summit, you know, having a platform whereby Brazil being one of the leading developing country in the world, and then is a member of BRICS, yes. Advancing a lot of both innovation, development on the continent. I think Brazil is just a natural place for the summit to bet a lot of transformation on the continent. So with Brazil being our host, and then, of course, Brazil leading around digital transformation in the developing world, I feel African leaders will see firsthand what works, and then will be able to understand where the world is heading towards, and then can lead the African people to its rightful place.
Absolutely. I think that is well said. Let's hear more about the connection to this digital economy and sustainability. We're looking at, you know, Nigeria, Africa as a whole does have a very young population, but also there's a lot of individuals there who are mid-age, a little bit older, who may not quite understand this digital sustainability, this digital economy. How does that trickle down to the local community level? What is the benefit that you see as an entrepreneur, a CEO, a businessman that has been in Nigeria working and living for some time? How does this really help others?
Okay, yeah, thank you. Africa currently have one of the youngest population in the world. But what this means for me is this means a lot of opportunity. Of course, growing up, we used to hear the fact that young people are leaders of tomorrow. But coming down to innovation and digital transformation is what everybody naturally should enjoy. No matter your age, no matter your demographics, you should have access to smartphones, you have access to internet connectivity. Mm-hmm. So realistically, digital economy as a vision, which AfriDes is driving on the continent, is for everyone across age brackets. What I feel Africa needs at this time is to constantly improve or increase her capacity to receive. The continent is already blessed with very amazing human capacity, but how do we constantly increase their capacity to receive? Mm-hmm. And that is why this summit is very critical at this point, with digital revolution happening across the globe. Africa, with our young population, with our human capacity, with our endowment, it naturally places her in the role to lead. So how do we accelerate this leadership around digital revolution? I think creating a safe space whereby we can have conversation, drive investment around digital infrastructure, because that is what is lacking, digital divide between the urban and rural, mm-hmm. Which have been causing a lot of emigration or migration over the years. I think
Nigeria is huge, right? It's a huge country, And so the population is big, the distance is big. And so between urban and rural, there must be a big divide between who has access to stable infrastructure for the digital economy. And digital platforms. That's an awesome opportunity that you're trying to solve.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And then what this summit seeks to do is how do we encourage policy re-engineering to give access to rural connectivity, give access to rural community in terms of both digital and internet connectivity, access to phones, access to digital infrastructure, because this is very, very critical. As a matter of fact, the next wave of prosperity on the continent of Africa is in rural Africa. Because by the time you unlock 65% of Africa population lives in rural Africa. And a good number, over 90% of this population don't have access to smartphones. So it means in one way or the other, they are disconnected to the digital economy. So what we are trying to do with AfriDes is create a safe space whereby we can actually amplify this conversation, spur leaders to carry out policy re-engineering, to be very intentional about investing in digital infrastructure in rural community, to unlock prosperity within the rural community. If you look at Africa critically, you realize that most of the natural resources you find them in rural Africa. Most of the agricultural productivity, you get it from the rural area. And the rural area is not connected to financial inclusivity. And the rural area is excluded in internet connectivity. So by the time we unlock these opportunities by giving access to both internet and financial inclusivity, Africa will leapfrog in its growth and development to take its leading role in driving the digital economy by 2030. You know.
Wow. So this is amazing. So AfriDes, your organization, I think we're going to spend some time talking about your organization, is really what the International Institute's platform is about. You are building the Africa we deserve. It looks like that you're putting jobs on the table. You're helping to support your nation, Nigeria's national development plan for opportunities for all people, urban and rural. And you're making some pretty great connections globally across continents, some continental connections to bring opportunities both to South America, particularly Brazil in your conference, and straddling that to make sure that Nigeria is set forth as a player. So let's dive a little bit more deeply into your organization. Talk about your organization. Let's hear about how long you have been doing business through Nigeria, because the audience needs to hear about the man behind the plan.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you for that question. 10 years ago, I left my banking job to pursue what I'm very passionate about, accelerating development on the continent. I come from an agrarian community. I was raised on the farm. And pretty much I come from a community where young people don't have access to the support system to pick up an idea, iterate it over and over, and transform it into a thriving business. I come from a community whereby you see a lot of people working in silos. There's little synergy, there's little collaboration, there's little partnership. So about 10 years ago, I set up on the path to leverage the diaspora community, because I'm a strong believer, I'm a firm believer in the diaspora population. That's one of the blessed assets Africa have, our brothers and sisters living abroad. So what we've been doing, personally, what I've been doing is to leverage the diaspora community to see how we can redirect leadership on the continent. Because everything begins with leadership. Leadership is a very critical component of development. So in the last few years, I've had cause to travel across over 10 African countries, engaging with the leadership, with both the presidents, the ministers, head of governments, to first point them to the direction of where the world is going towards. And then having noticed or experienced or appreciate the role digital economy is playing on the continent. Let me give you an instance. In Nigeria, where I'm from, just the first quarter of this year, the digital economy has contributed over 14.8% of the total GDP. That is far more than oil, crude oil, which drives the economy. So it therefore means that digital economy has to be given attention, the necessary attention to unlock development on the continent. And that is why, as an organization, we've decided to come together, leverage partnerships like the International Institute to play a leading role in driving the digital economy on the continent, creating a safe space whereby we can drive both public-private partnerships, where we can drive collaborations, get our brothers and sisters who are working in silos to come together. Let's work together. So the AfriDes platform, or the African Digital Economy Summit platform, is a safe space whereby every organization focused on the continent or leveraging both either the diaspora or other parts of the world in driving development should come together as a safe space to work together to drive the economy of Africa. And then appreciably, over the years, we've seen other nations joining forces with Africa to play a very critical role in advancing economies globally, not just in Africa. We appreciate what the Chinese are trying to do at the moment. But of course, the AfriDes platform is put together by Africa or Friends of Africa and the diaspora population for Africa. So it's a platform by Africa, for the advancement of Africa.
Wow, how powerful. It is put together by Africans for the benefit and the empowerment of Africa. That is truly building the Africa we deserve. And you should be applauded absolutely for your hard work, your dedication for over 10 years, and having belief in yourself that something as a young person is possible to do, because you set your heart in order to help humankind, mankind, and particularly to help uplift Africa. Nigeria should be very pleased with all of your endeavors thus far. Let's hear about some of the people who will be coming to the African Digital Economy Summit in Sao Paulo, Brazil in October of 2024. Who do we have lined up to be speakers? And let's talk about some of your sponsors.
Okay, yeah, thank you. First, I would like to begin with our very critical focus, which is leadership on the continent. So far, we've gotten a nod from the government of Nigeria, which will be ably represented at the summit by the Secretary to the government of the Federation of Nigeria.
Wow.
Dr. Senator George Akume, who is like a father figure. We are both from the same clan and from the same local community. So I feel very blessed for having him partake in a very, very disruptive or transformative venture like that of AfriDes.
Sure.
And then again, yeah, that's from the Nigerian part. We've had a member of parliament line up because part of our mission is to drive both policy and compliance on the continent around policies that drive both digital transformation and digital adoption. So the parliamentarians play a very, very critical role, being the fact that they are mandated to drive policies and legislate over policies on the continent. We have a couple of members of parliament lined up to be part of the conversations in Sao Paulo. But of course, it's not a Nigerian event. It's an African event.
It's an African.
Yeah, it's an African event. So we have people from the government of the Cameroon being led by Professor Kelly Kingsley, who is the exchequer of the Republic, who is playing, who drives the financial sector of the Republic. Is going to be speaking and giving us a workshop on tokenization. Is going to be leading the Cameroon delegation. We equally have confirmation from Botswana. We are bringing in some folks from South Africa, and then Kenya. We reached out to the Minister of Communications in Kenya. So this is going to be a very fully packed event, represented by the governments across Africa. And then again, we are very big on innovation. So we have innovators both from the diaspora community and some of us on the continent. We have thought leaders, you know. We are exploring the possibility of bringing in Navrup, who have been a very big voice for Africa, to keynote at the event. You know, who is very passionate about Africa. I remember her inviting me into the African Coalition some number of years. So having her voice will equally be very, very critical. We are exploring that possibility. So our target audience are head of governments, innovators, thought leaders, entrepreneurs, and the business community, both in Brazil and on the continent of Africa, and our brothers and sisters who are in the diaspora. What our expectations are to create deal-making synergies. So of course, we are going to be leveraging both the Afro-Brazilian Chamber to see how we can unlock opportunities, Brazil-African opportunities as much as we can, to see those low-hanging fruits around both digital trade, digital commerce, you know, and then of course looking at digital transformation, what works, how can we copy it, you know, because of course at this point we shouldn't be reinventing the wheel. That is what has taken China to where it is. Exploit what works, localize it as much as possible. So we are looking at a very full packed event, having both the government, thought leaders, entrepreneurs, and innovators, and of course not taking out the very critical stakeholders, which are the venture capitalists and investors. Thank you.
Fabulous. As we round down the time here, our conversation has gone so quickly. It's so important for us to hear, Kelvin, what are other things that we should know about your conference? What are other important things that we have not talked about that we should talk about? So the floor is open for you to chime in.
Okay, yeah, thank you. First, Brazil is very, very rich in culture, just like Africa. So beyond the deal-making synergies, beyond the panel or keynote speeches, the AfriDes conference or summit is going to be a cultural immersion as well. There is a city tour component to it, whereby all the delegates will be opportune to tour Sao Paulo. Also, we are having an exclusive African business dinner night, whereby we'll be promoting African food on the global stage, promoting African culture as much as possible. And I want to use this opportunity to tell every delegate that it's planning to be part of the AfriDes Summit to you just have to get 1 or 2 African traditional attire, because it's going to be an opportunity to display the very rich Afro culture in Brazil. And of course, especially for those of us participating from other countries, the participation fee is $1,000, particularly those coming from Africa, and which covers your visa. We want to process because we are already, because we got the approval from G20, we are already in talks with most of the Brazilian embassies on the continent to help facilitate visas as soon as possible. So we'll be helping facilitate visas as part of the fee. But of course, for those who are in Brazil, for some, especially the speakers, the event is going to be free for thought leaders. And then for other delegates, you'll be made to pay $250 to cover for both your feeding, summit materials, and of course the African business dinner night. And then we are looking forward to very amazing keynote speeches from some of the thought leaders, both in the diaspora and on the continent. More so, because of the partnership we are having with both the International Institute and some of the partners, we will be looking at the diversity around the summit, appreciating the fact what our partners bring to bear to add color to the event, but of course, if you want to know more, you visit our website at www.africandigitaleconomysummit.com, or you can reach me on my cell phone, which is +234 70 3565 2264, or you can equally reach our partner, the International Institute, particularly the founder, Viola Green, who happens to be a co-chair of this particular, of the AfriDes Summit in Sao Paulo. You can reach her, and then you get more information in terms of participation. And then before we close, speakership, we are still recruiting speakers, so the floor is still open for speakers who want to contribute. Those who want to sponsors and partners, our doors are open for partners. We are very big on collaboration and partnership. Africa cannot do it alone. We need as many people across the globe. We are using this opportunity to call on thought leaders, company, organizations across the globe to come join forces with us to advance digital excellence and digital economy on the continent of Africa. Thank you.
Absolutely. What a wonderful opportunity to spend this evening with you in Nigeria, in Abuja, and afternoon with me here in Washington, D.C. The International Institute is proud and pleased to be a partner to the African Digital Economy Summit that is happening in Sao Paulo, Brazil, October 27th through the 31st. So as this moves out and more marketing occurs, we're just using this opportunity to get the word out. But more information will be, when you watch this, it will be broadcasted over all of the International Institute's networks with the actual website that will make it easier for everyone to click and be able to join in, grab your tickets. Do not miss out on this global event that is happening in Sao Paulo, Brazil, the African Digital Economy Summit, which will hold leaders from around Africa and other thought partners throughout the globe. I'm so proud of you and your work there, Kelvin. Your work is phenomenal. And I know if I'm proud of you as a diaspora of the continent, I know continental Africans are proud of you, and so isn't your government. Hand clap and applause to you, and thank you for coming on this afternoon to have this conversation to showcase the amazing opportunities that we have before us for rural and urban people throughout Africa to be able to be brought up to for the digital divide to end and opportunities to be created. Thank you so very much. All, please tune back in for more conversations with thought leaders on the Africa we deserve, taking power over our lives. This is a great opportunity to showcase, to get inspired, to bring your innovations to the table, and to share information. It is a complimentary service that we offer to all of our partners of the Africa We Deserve, which is a byproduct of the International Institute of Family Development. Thank you all, and until next time, stay beautiful.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Thank you.
Absolutely.